Hey guys, welcome back to JS Detailing. Today we got a little bit of something different for you. This time, instead of a Corvette, we have a F-150. It's not just a work truck. This thing has a little bit of punch under the hood. So here, this is a dealer installed Whipple F-150. Our customer that bought this has all kinds of plans for it. We're gonna go over those plans with you. So to start, obviously we had to get rid of the fishbowl. So Freedom Tint went ahead and tinted the windows, got all that taken care of. And then we are going to do a full front end and track pack on this truck. And then we're also going to add a little bit of styling with matte black PPF on the hood and on the roof. And then once it leaves here, obviously these steelies got to go. So the customer has some welds on order, and he's also going to lower it to give it that good stance. And now that we got this AWE catback exhaust installed, this thing sounds mean. Before with the factory exhaust, it sounded kind of weak. Bet you could hear the blower pretty good. But wanted to give a shout out to Scott at C-Force Performance for hooking us up with this AWE exhaust with these black tips. Really sets it off nice. All right, so we're gonna get started laying film on this. We are gonna go over a couple reasons why we're doing what we're doing. So a normal full front end obviously gets clear. We're doing matte, like I said, and that's kind of to tie this all together. We're doing matte film on this bumper because if we did gloss film, it would make it glossy. We wanna keep that matte look and tie it into the rest of the truck. So we'll do matte film on the bumper. Obviously we're gonna cover the headlights, this front bumper piece, the fenders, and then the customer also opted to do our off-road and track package, which it will cover down to here, this lower body line, and wrap underneath all the way back to behind the rear tires. That's gonna be really important, especially once he gets the welds with the sticky tires on and he starts racing. That way it'll protect this paint back here too. So it's gonna look really good. We're gonna get it ceramic coated. And then once we turn it over, we'll bring it back and you can see the finished product. Just gonna do a quick overview of our process. Obviously we've already done our full decon wash, iron remove, clay bar, all that stuff. So this paint is clean and ready to go. This truck only has a couple 100 miles on it, so it's really clean already. We take some alcohol and we prep what we're getting ready to lay film on. That's just to make sure that there's no dirt, grease, anything like that left on the panel before we lay the film to make sure that adhesive adheres properly and stays for the life of the film. Now we are using Steck. It's a 10-year film, so you gotta go through all the proper processes to make sure that it lasts 10 years. Now this is a really small piece, so it's not as imperative, but when you're doing larger pieces like fenders and hoods, anything that you could trap some dirt in, you want to try to keep it as close to the peel board as possible so you don't carry it through and pick up any kind of hair floating around or anything that could contaminate the film. So really you just kind of want to make sure everything's good and lined up. Then we can start squeegeeing it out. The cuts are pretty precise. Sometimes you gotta stretch. This one looks like it is good to go with no stretch. So we'll start squeegeeing. I'm overlapping about 50-50. Once you get it down and it's gonna stay down, you can kind of press a little harder, but you start off with a little bit lighter pressure just to make sure the film's not moving around on you. But ideally, once get it all down, this line will disappear into this body line and you won't even notice it. Once you make sure you get all the bubbles out and you have leftover moisture, we'll flush our edges with tack and get those to wrap in. All right, we got our tack solution here, which is a mixture of alcohol and water. That just helps the film adhere. We're gonna wrap this in towards the inner fender here. I'm gonna make sure you get all the moisture rounded over the edge. Just kind of work it down a little bit at a time. All right. Then your front edge is wrapped. We're gonna go ahead and get going on the rest of this truck here. Once all the film is laid down, we look it over really good. We heat all the edges down. You wanna make sure that there's nothing popping up anywhere. Sometimes you let it set overnight, a finger might pop up somewhere, maybe on an edge or something. We'll heat it down really good, seal it off, and then once we're done with that, we'll ceramic coat everything, and it'll be easy to maintain for the customer.
So we want to show you guys the process of ceramic coating our cars. You always start with a prep surface, obviously, alcohol wipe the whole car, get all the contaminants off of it. Then you move on to the actual coating itself. And what you do here is you take your coating and you make sure that the pad is well saturated, especially on the first pass, because obviously the pad is brand new and you want to make sure there's enough coating on it. Then you go over to the vehicle, and when working with this coating with one person, ideally you want to do half of the hood because it's such a big panel. So you start by coating, work your way around it, make sure you're hitting every spot. So after we apply the coating, we run through 3 towels to make sure the coating is properly leveled throughout the whole panel and all the excess comes off. Now there's no haze left behind. And if everything looks good and there's no streaking or high spots, then we go ahead and finish off the rest of the truck. And that is the whole ceramic coating process.
We are all finished up with this F-150 build. The other shop got the lowering suspension kit, everything installed, got the 22-inch welds installed, new tires. I don't know if we touched on it, but we did do an AWE exhaust thanks to Scott at C-Force Performance. It screams, it is loud. So as you can see, the stance is much, much better. And we'll kind of take you out, give you some pulls and an exhaust note for it. But with the supercharger and the exhaust, this thing is loud. So let's go for a ride. And that'll do it for this video. As always, like, comment, subscribe. That really help us out. And if you have any sort of PPF or ceramic needs, but as well as performance needs, feel free to hit us up. We can get you the parts or get you connected with the right guys. Thanks for tuning in.